Okay, good evening and welcome to Fairfax County Public Schools Virtual Military Night. My name is Bridget Wright and I am an educational specialist with the College Success Programs here in FCPS. I will be the moderator for the ROTC and Service Military Academy session. This session will be recorded. If you experience any technical difficulties or need to leave the session early, the recording will be available for you. So tonight we have three presenters. We have Brandon Garcia from the U.S. Air Force, ROTC Scholarship Advisor. We have Randy Ray from the Army ROTC at Georgetown. And we have Dominique Blum from, it looks like, Virginia Military Institute. So I'm going to turn it over to our presenters without further ado, and we are going to start with you, Mr. Garcia. Take it away.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me out here. Just to touch base with you all back at home right now, I'm Brandon Garcia, Second Lieutenant United States Air Force. By trade, I'm a 92 T0, which is basically a student pilot. So if y'all see my name tag, there's no wings there, so we're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. I graduated from University of Nevada, Las Vegas about 10 months ago, actually, at this point. I majored in political science and I minored in aerospace studies, which in our school aerospace studies was just ROTC. So it's kind of fun. Overall, what my job is right now is I'm awaiting pilot training right now. So I'm going to go to Vance Air Force Base after this. But more importantly, my role here in the DMV area is to simply talk about Air Force ROTC as well as some of our scholarship offerings. And if you're part of the last session, you got a little bit of a taste of it. But overall, I can talk a little bit more about the Air Force specific stuff. And most importantly, talk about my pathway as to how I ended up here. So overall, 10,000 foot view here, no pun intended. Basically, the way it works is just like how we were talking about earlier, where it's like part-time military training while you're in college. That's the exact same pipeline that works for the Air Force too. The Air Force, Navy, and Army all have pretty similar programs as to how it works. A little bit of a different thing for us, though, is our first 2 years are called GMC, so General Military Course, and our last 2 years are called POC, which is Professional Officer Course. And so when you're an underclassman, you're being taught the fundamentals of the Air Force, all those types of things, basically what our role is in the total fight. And then eventually, once you're an upperclassman, you're in charge of basically running the entire detachment, which is our unit. And so overall, between the two of those things, I know the Army has things similar, but we call it field training. And it's, again, the 2 weeks we call ourselves the Army, where we basically go out to the woods and we pretend to ruck stuff around and fire guns, right? But overall, the majority of the Air Force ROTC program itself is basically there to structure you to ensure you graduate on time and with a degree to be, again, the most useful officer you can be in the Air Force and forward. But overall, the biggest thing that I always talk to parents about this is the availability of ROTC. So it's over 59 universities across the nation. If your school itself doesn't have ROTC, that's okay. So like a college, for example, does not have ROTC, that's fine because we have a crosstown agreement with certain schools. So for example, in the DMV area, specifically DC, we only have one school that has ROTC, and that's going to be Howard University. So if you go to Georgetown, if you go to Catholic University, if you go to George Washington, American, all you do is you drive over once a week, you complete your ROTC requirements, and you come on back. So for 4 out of the 5 days a week, typically when you're a student, you're focusing on basically just being a student at your own school. One day a week, you're an ROTC cadet. So that's kind of the way it works. And for me, my biggest reason why I did ROTC was I love the flexibility. And most importantly, I joined really late in the game. So I was a sophomore in college before I joined, which again, you're able to do so in the Air Force ROTC program. And basically my entire college career, I wanted to be a lawyer. I got lost on the way to law school and ended up at pilot school instead. So I'm really happy with that. Overall, the biggest thing that I always talk to parents about is realize that understanding and students course, understand that it's what you want out of it. So basically, a lot of folks ask me, do I go service academy or do I go ROTC? I say it always depends on what school you're going to, the whole point. So for example, I had a really good friend who got accepted for an Air Force ROTC scholarship and she got accepted into the Air Force Academy. So she decided which one I want to go to. She got into Yale. And so she actually went to Yale, became a Space Force officer, got a full tuition and fees basically paid for from the Air Force, and the college actually paid for the rest of it. And so now she's a Space Force officer, right? So if you're comparing, again, for example, Yale or Harvard or Brown, those types of schools, and certain other service academies, kind of pick and choose what you want from that, right? Think about what's going to happen after your college career and after your military career as well. Because again, one day I'm going to be taking off this flight suit. I'm just going to be Brandon Garcia, and where I'm going to be at with that. So overall, think of it as kind of a launching stone as to what you want to do. But most importantly, understand kind of what your role is too. Don't be afraid to kind of basically apply for everything there is. There's no jobs locked behind certain commissioning pathways. So if you were an Air Force ROTC officer versus an Air Force Academy officer versus an OTS or officer training school officer, it does not matter. There's no jobs are locked behind any specific kind of entry into the Air Force. The only thing that's kind of stopping you from certain things is typically your degree choice. So for example, I can't be an engineer. I study politics. That's kind of a reasonable thing to assume too. But yeah, overall, that's mostly what I have to talk to you about for the juniors kind of going into their senior year. We do have a scholarship open from July 1st until December 31st. Our scholarship board has a hard cutoff. So compared to some of the other branches might have rolling deadlines, for us, it is a all or nothing, submit by December 31st or you cannot be considered for it. But if you're already a senior looking into joining ROTC, again, I'm a product of that. So I was a sophomore and I was able to get a scholarship for 3 years from there. So understand that it's never too late to kind of figure out what you want to do. And again, with the Air Force, at least, you're able to be in the program for as long as 2 years before you actually have to sign a contract to serve. So if you want to just kind of feel what's going on there, you can too. But overall, if you have any questions, feel free to kind of email people and this kind of thing. But I'd love to be here. Appreciate you.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Randy, go ahead.
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mr. Randy Ray. I am the Recruiting Operations Officer for the Georgetown University Army ROTC program. Even though I'm a recruiting operations officer here at Georgetown University, when I talk tonight, I'm going to be more talking about ROTCs basically across the board. So that kind of gives you a little bit of information about everybody that's out there. The ROTC program gives you an opportunity to pursue your undergraduate studies at one of 1,100 colleges and universities across the United States. So, when you're thinking in terms of, again, should I go to a service academy or should I go to an ROTC program? The one thing I tell parents and students all the time is, again, it really depends on what it is you want to study. Some academic majors are taught very well at a service academy, but then you're going to have some academic majors that may actually be taught a little bit better at, say, a civilian institution. So it just really kind of all depends on you and what it is you want to study and what kind of a college experience do you want to have as well. So just kind of take those things into consideration as well. In terms of the ROTC scholarships, we do have an Army ROTC scholarship. Through that boarding process, you can be awarded either a 3-year or 4-year Army ROTC scholarship. And there are multiple places that you can apply that ROTC scholarship to. Again, one of 1,100 colleges and universities that are out there. You can apply your art. You also have the ability to apply an Army ROTC scholarship at one of 6 senior military colleges as well. I think we have one online here with me tonight as well. And then you can also go to a junior military college as well. So all of these options are available to you. So definitely make sure that you're taking that time to look into all of these as you move forward. But going back specifically talking more about the Army ROTC scholarship application, the application window normally opens around the middle of June, and we normally close our application out. You have to have created your account no later than February of your senior year. During your senior year, we will normally have 3 scholarship boards. The first board will convene in January. So once the application window opens in June, you have until June up until October to be ready for our first scholarship board. If you're ready for the first board, then that's great. We'll board you on the first board. If you're ready for the first board and you're not selected for an ROTC scholarship on the first round, your application will automatically carry over to the second board, and if necessary, it'll roll over to the third board. So there's not anything that you necessarily have to do. The application will just continuously roll over. So again, through this process, you can be awarded either a 3-year or a 4-year Army ROTC scholarship. With your Army ROTC scholarship, you can apply an Army ROTC scholarship towards tuition and fees, full tuition and fees, or full tuition and mandatory fees at whatever college or university you're going to, or you can also apply that ROTC scholarship towards room and board. If you apply your ROTC scholarship towards room and board, the entitlement will cap out at $12,000 a year. So it really kind of depends on what school you're going to and how expensive the school is going to make the determination of how you're going to apply your scholarship. So for example, if you're coming to hang out at Georgetown University, Tuition is roughly around $62,000 a year. So you can probably imagine about 95% of my cadet population is applying that ROTC scholarship towards tuition and fees. But you just kind of really have to look at it and figure out which one you want to apply your scholarship to. And you can do that once you get awarded your scholarships. In addition to that, tuition and fees, room and board payment, you will also have the ability to receive a $420 a month cadet stipend. That cadet stipend will be paid out all during the academic year. So anytime you're enrolled in your classes, you'll receive your cadet stipend of $420 a month. You will also have the ability to receive a $1,200 annual book stipend, and that's going to be paid out once you contract into the ROTC program. That'll be paid out in 2 semesters, once in a $600 payment in the fall semester, $600 payment in the spring semester as well. If you happen to be a nursing student and you are applying for an ROTC scholarship, you will also receive a one-time payment of $650, and that's to be used for specialty equipment. So if you're, stethoscopes and scrubs and things along that nature, the Army actually provides you with an entitlement to pay for that as well. If you're awarded a 3-year scholarship, your scholarship will start day 1 of your sophomore year. So it'll start day 1 of your sophomore year, but all during your freshman year, you're going to be required to do everything that a 4-year scholarship winner would do. And so there are basically 3 basic things that you have to do at a college or university if you just want to fly right at the baseline of being an ROTC cadet. First thing is going to be, you're going to have to go to your military science classes. So 1 day a week, you'll take a military science class. The second thing you'll have to be able to do is what's called your physical fitness training. And so that's when you're going to wake up in the mornings and you're going to exercise with all of the cadets that are in your program. The third thing you'll have to do is what are called your lab exercises. And that's basically when you're practicing in the field environment, what you've learned in the classroom. So for example, if you're learning about map reading in the classroom, then when the battalion goes out and we do our field training exercises, that's going to be a perfect time for you to practice in the field environment what you've already learned in the classroom. So as long as you're doing those 3 things, that's the baseline for ROTC. You'll fly right at the baseline. And so if you are a 3-year scholarship winner, you're going to be required to do those 3 things that I just mentioned to you before. At the end of your freshman year, you'll have to have an academic GPA of 2.5 or better. And you'll also have to have a cumulative GPA of 2.5 or better as well. You'll also have to be DOBMER qualified as well. We'll take a break for the summer. Once we come back and we start the beginning of your sophomore year, we're going to give you a physical fitness test. And if you meet the height and weight requirements, then your scholarship will start day 1 of your sophomore year. And your 3-year scholarship will cover your sophomore, junior, and your senior years while you're in the ROTC program. Outside of that, I think that's really the baselines for how to apply and how to compete for an ROTC scholarship. If you happen to be a senior and you're discovering at this point that, well, I didn't meet Mr. Ray before now, and, the scholarship boards have already passed, what can I do? You can definitely still join an Army ROTC program. The only thing you have to do is just when you get on campus, you'll want to, actually, whenever you get your acceptance letters into your respective universities, once you find out where you're going, even during the summers, reach out to that university's ROTC program and let them know that you're interested in participating in the ROTC program. Now, we do have what are called campus-based programs as well, because there's a lot of students never get an opportunity to talk to a guy like Mr. Ray and find out about the ROTC programs beforehand. And so with that, once you arrive on campus, you can also compete for what is called a campus-based scholarship. And so cadets that are competing for a campus-based scholarship, they're basically doing the 3 things that we just talked about. They're enrolled in the military science classes, they're doing physical fitness training, and they're also doing lab exercises as well. And then you'll have the ability to compete for an ROTC scholarship once you get on campus. Now, when you're competing for an ROTC scholarship on campus, the competition pool is a lot smaller because instead of competing against applicants all across the United States, you're only competing against the cadets that are in your respective college or university and on your campus. So it gets a little bit, I'm not going to say easier, but it's a lot easier for you to kind of, let the cadre know who you are as an individual and what your leadership capabilities are as well. So even if you don't apply for an ROTC scholarship while you're in high school, you can still obtain an ROTC scholarship when you arrive to your college or your university as well. We do ROTC scholarships anywhere on campus. We do scholarships anywhere from 3.5 years all the way down to 2 year scholarships as well. And then we also provide master students with an opportunity to compete for an ROTC scholarship as well. So even if you do your undergraduate studies and you decide later on you want to do a master's program, you can still come back through the ROTC program and pursue an advanced degree as well. Um, and so I think that's pretty much everything that I have to say right now for the ROTC program. Again, if you're interested in getting more information, you definitely want to reach out to the recruiting operations officers at whichever university you're looking at going to. And as well, if you're looking at going to a senior military college or a junior military college, you'll want to reach out there as well. But I'm not going to go into the senior military colleges because my friend right behind me is going to talk to you more about that as well. But if you have any questions or if you need to reach out to me, my email address, armyrotc@georgetown.edu. Thank you all and have a great day.
All right, terrific. Thank you so much, Mr. Ray. You gave them a lot of great information and a lot of options. I didn't realize there were so many different types of ROTC scholarships that students could get, and I really like that, you talk to the parents and families and students about going, to the college and talking to them later, or the college that they've been accepted to, inquiring about it later. So that, as you mentioned, people that may not know about this in time still have some options. So thank you very much for all of that. Dominique, up to you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Dominique Blum. I'm VMI class of 2009. I was a business and economics major, and now I'm back as one of the assistant directors of admissions at VMI. VMI is the oldest state-supported military school in the nation, founded in 1839, so we've been around quite a while. We have about 50 cadets at the moment. So that lends us to a student to teacher ratio of about 10-1. So that basically means our classes are very, very small, and it's a very intimate learning environment. So if that's somewhere that you thrive, then VMI could be a really, really great place for you. Another great handhold to that is every student that comes to VMI is assigned to an academic advisor. So the whole time you're there, from the first week until you graduate, you will have one person who will check your grades, your schedules. They'll keep you on track, not only for graduation, but if you're interested in any minors or any concentrations within your major, they'll make sure that you're taking the right classes and you're on track for that as well. We're complete undergraduate schools, so we are mostly an engineering schools, what we're known for. That's our bread and butter. So you can study any kind of engineering here, but we also have a wonderful liberal arts department. So you can study business and economics, English, history, psychology, and you can also study math, physics, any of the sciences as well while you're at VMI. We have almost unlimited opportunities for you to study abroad if that's something that you would like to do. We even have opportunities to send our students in the summertime in case, they don't want to miss out on certain milestones at VMI. They don't have to. They can study abroad in the summer. We do have athletics at VMI. We are Division I for NCAA. We're the smallest Division I school out there. But having said that, that basically means there's a lot of scholarships available for if you play a sport. So if you wanted to come to VMI and run track or play on our basketball team, our women's water polo team, anything like that, then definitely reach out to our coaches and get that ball kind of rolling and talk to them about their scholarship opportunities. Outside of NCAA, we have about 50 clubs at VMI. So anything that you want to be a part of, we can make happen. Our rugby club is amazing. They've been doing really, really well this year. We also have ballroom dancing. We have a drone club. We have an equestrian club, theater, glee club, jazz band, almost anything that you can think of, our cadets have their hands in here at VMI. The normal day of a cadet, like Mr. Ray was kind of saying, you're going to start in the morning, maybe with your ROTC about 06. You'll have PT. And then from at 7 o'clock every morning, we have what we call our breakfast roll call. That's our attendance, where our entire corps will form up right in front of barracks, and they will all march down to breakfast together and eat breakfast. From about 8 to 3:30 is our class block. And then in your afternoons, they vary quite a bit depending on what class that you're in, but typically we use them as military training times, more ROTC times, or if it's a Friday or a Saturday, maybe we have a sporting event or a parade on campus. We do As a senior military college, we are a beautiful mix of between a civilian school and a service academy. So at VMI, we do not have any obligations for you to join the military unless that is something that you decide you would like to do for your future, or if you have received an ROTC scholarship and would like to use that to pay for your school. So at VMI, if you get there and you have a chance to decide whether you'd like to go the commissioning route or non-commissioning route. About 60% of our student body does commission into the armed forces every year, which is lovely. We love that. And we do have a lot of students who come in with scholarships. So it was great to hear all of that new scholarship information. If you bring in a scholarship, like Mr. Ray was saying, where it doesn't cover it will cover your tuition, but maybe it doesn't cover your room and board. VMI has a scholarship called our Call to Duty Scholarship, which will come in and help fill those gaps so that you can come to VMI and be debt free after you leave. Of course, same like Mr. Ray was saying, you have to keep your grades up. You have to pass your PT test. As long as you keep your ROTC scholarship, your Call to Duty scholarship will follow you, whether your scholarship is 2, 3, or 4 years. So that's a great thing that VMI has started to kind of help students afford it when they get here. I'm trying to think what else. Another thing that Mr. Garcia touched on, VMI is one of those central schools. So we do have a plethora, obviously, of ROTC, and schools around us do not. So we do host schools if you go to Mary Baldwin or WNL or Southern Virginia University, but you still would like to be an ROTC student. Those students come to VMI, they do their PT with us, they do their ROTC classes with us, and their leadership labs as well. We are the only military school that has a single sanction honor code. That's something that cadets and everyone at VMI holds very, very close to their hearts. It's not something that we plan on changing anytime soon, and we take it very seriously. It is like the majority of our school cadet led. So our cadets do run our honor system, our honor code, any trials or anything like that is all cadet led. And you can definitely, because we take it so seriously, you can trust the people that you're with on campus, and you can trust the people who live in the room with you and who are around. And it really grows into a very healthy, not only learning environment, but training environment as well. Of course, your first year, right when you come to VMI, is known as your rat year, your freshman year. It's about a 6-month period that we have where we break you down and teach you how to be an effective follower. And then after you've learned those skills, we're going to build you right back up and teach you how to be an effective leader. And with that, there are unlimited leadership opportunities at VMI, all the way from being the regimental commander and being in charge of the entire Corps of Cadets down to maybe an EMT where you may not wear a shiny rank on your shoulder, but if a freshman gets hurt, you're the first person online to help them. We consider all of those leadership opportunities, and there's just a plethora of VMI. So if that's something that you want and kind of build those leadership skills, then VMI for sure could be a great place for you. Another great thing about being a senior military college is we're not pigeonholed into one ROTC. So at VMI, luckily, we can commission our students directly into all 6 branches, including Space Force and the Coast Guard. So if that's something that you're interested in your future, and then VMI is a great place for you. If you're someone who wants to serve, but maybe you're not sure which branch is right for you, VMI could be a great option, because if you come in and let's say you're gung-ho Marines, and then you get there and you're like, well, maybe this is a little bit too intense for me, or maybe the Air Force just, looks a little bit more exciting. I want to fly a particular plane that the Marine Corps doesn't have. Well, at VMI, it's very simple for you to switch ROTCs and just kind of start working towards a new future for yourself. And that's something that we like to stress with our students, is just the availability of choice that you have when you come to VMI. So our students not only switch majors every once in a while, but they switch ROTCs as well. And it's just really nice to have those opportunities whenever you need them. We are typically a 4-year institution. We do have some students who stay 5 years. That's kind of unusual, but not really a big deal. Maybe they just love VMI and they want to stay a little bit longer. But we do have a few things that kind of help our students be more equipped for some of the things that Mr. Garcia was touching on. So when you go to field training for the Air Force, or Navy has a summertime event as well, but I don't know what they call it. At VMI, we're going to stress all of your leadership skills and all of your leadership reaction courses. We have all of those things right here on our campus to kind of help you get those skills up before you go. So we have a full Marine Corps obstacle course, so our students can even practice on that. And we're also very equipped to help them with things like their DOM MERB and making sure that they're PT ready and everything like that for in the summertime. So VMI is a very interesting place. If you're a student who's on the fence, you don't really know if you want to commission or not, or if you're a student who is definitely wanting to commission, but maybe they don't know what branch, then I would definitely suggest a senior military school like VMI for you. It's a great place to kind of get your feet wet and just grow and learn and figure out what it is you want to do for the rest of your life. So thank you for having me. If any of your students have any questions, feel free to email me. You can email either admissions@vmi.edu or me directly, blumdr@vmi.edu. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Dominique. Thanks for being here with us today. And it sounds like VMI is a really special place with a lot of emphasis on student choice and options. Again, I think that's like a common theme I'm hearing now from all of you, but I really love it. One of the highlights for me was that Call of Duty scholarship. I think that's so cool that you're really addressing that gap that a lot of families fear between putting the money toward, tuition or having housing. And so having that as an option is really awesome. I also really loved your honor code and the fact that it's all done by the cadets. That seems so special. So a lot of really awesome stuff, it sounds like, going on there. Okay, so parents and families and students viewing this, if you have any questions for any of our presenters, please feel free to reach out to anyone in the school counseling department here at FCPS or in the College Success Programs office, and we'll be happy to connect you with one of our presenters. And thank you for watching this, and hopefully you got a lot of great information. I'll leave it to any of our presenters if you have any last minute things to add that maybe you forgot to mention or you wanted to pop back on. We're good? All right. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. Take care.